there is also despair. And where there is despair, people may listen to anyone, to any plan that promises a change. In America, practically nobody listens. In all countries with stable government, civil liberties, and reasonable prosperity, communism makes little or no headway. The red countries cannot stand comparison in the light of day. That's one reason for the Iron Curtain that stretches across Eastern Europe from the Baltic Sea to the Mediterranean. The barrier works two ways. It keeps free men from seeing too much inside, and it keeps the slave world from glimpsing freedom. Back of that Iron Curtain is the biggest captive audience in the world. They don't have to sell them, just tell them. And what do they hear about themselves? Well, let's listen.
Мы передавали специальную программу, посвященную сельскохозяйственному планированию в Азербайджане. At a recent meeting of the International Labor Organization, the question was raised by one of the American delegates as to why there are no strikes in the USSR. To the people of the Soviet Union, this is a foolish question. The reason why we do not have strikes is because we do not have exploitation of the workers. Here there are no capitalists and no landlords seeking profits at the expense of human welfare. As all of us know, in the Soviet Union, authority belongs to the working people. In no other country does the worker feel so much a part of his factory, his farm, his village, and his nation. Our workers do not grumble or strike. They leave that to the discontented masses of other countries who have not yet advanced to socialism. One has but to look around the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics to see on every hand evidence of our enormous progress. In Uzbekistan, there has been a mighty upswing in the economy and unprecedented cultural progress as well. Twice as many Uzbeks today receive higher education than in France, for example. In Czechoslovakia, household appliances and motorcycles have ceased to be the goods exclusively for the rich. Today, they are available to all. In Byelorussia, the people have received all equipment necessary for boosting agriculture, such as tractors and machines. We are a nation of happy builders in a blossoming land.
You get the picture? For the people around Moscow, they say everything in Uzbekistan is wonderful. For the people in the Euro region, they say everything in Czechoslovakia is wonderful. For the people in the Ukraine, Byelorussia is a blossoming land. Wherever a Soviet citizen lives, he's told life is just a bowl of cherries somewhere else in the Soviet Union, and it's up to him to work harder to catch up. As for America, the Soviet people are told that conditions here are hopeless. In their theaters, the Soviets see newsreels made up especially to show the terrible truth about us.
This is America of the big capitalists. Wall Street with its big, impressive buildings. But this is the real America, where the workers live. Since they are underpaid, they must eke out a few pennies extra by peddling fruit on the streets. Almost every day in America, you will see police and goon squads attacking the workers who try to strike. But for the wealthy class, there is not a care in the world.
Did you recognize those old newsreel scenes? You know how typical they are of America. As for the Soviet soldier, he is also a prime target for the Kremlin propagandists. The Soviet soldier's head may be full of propaganda, and his ears may be ringing with lies, but he's still a soldier, and a tough one. In all his life, he will never hear the truth about the other side. I said a moment ago that we're slandered by the Reds everywhere in the world, and we are. But every once in a while, the Kremlin changes the script. In the last 40 years, Russia's official attitude toward us has changed from friendship to hatred, back to friendship, and back to hatred again, no less than 8 times. It all depends on the party line. In the crazy world of communism, today's friend is tomorrow's enemy. Today's hero is tomorrow's traitor. Lavrenti Beria, chief of the Soviet secret police, hero of the people, shot as a traitor. Today's hero is tomorrow's traitor. Rudolf Slansky, leader of the Czechoslovakian Reds, hero of the people, hanged as a traitor. Laszlo Reich, leader of the Hungarian Reds, hero of the people, hanged as a traitor, and then found innocent, cleared of all charges, but too late. And here is the hero of heroes, genius, the benevolent father of all the Russians, who has been declared the greatest traitor of them all, a psychopathic murderer, after being hailed as a godlike leader for 30 years. It all depends on the party line, whether the Russian bear kills or caresses, scowls or smiles. And when the Reds start calling us their best friends, look out. That's what they said to us in some of their broadcasts over in Korea, and in these leaflets they drop behind our lines. All of a sudden, they're our buddies.
Dear conscientious friends, American officers, sergeants, and soldiers, the great desire of the Korean and Chinese People's Army is for justice and national independence. Are you really fighting for freedom? Do you not realize by now that you have been sent by the Wall Street merchants to crush Korea's attempt to gain independence? You cannot beat 500 million Chinese and Koreans. Our brave and heroic soldiers will never surrender. Don't let your capitalist leaders deceive you. Don't fight their aggressive war. Let all foreign troops withdraw from Korea. Go home and live in peace.
Well, every GI in Korea wanted nothing more than to go home and live in peace. If only the communists would do the same thing. But they didn't, of course, until we fought them to a standstill. Now let me introduce you to another communist. This is going to be hard to take, so brace yourselves.
Hi, fellas. How are you today? Not so good, huh? Well, you know what General Sherman said about war. Oh, well, it'll only last 7 or 8 years, fellas. Of course, it could be less than that if your leaders would only listen to reason. But let's not talk about it. I'm going to play some real dreamy music for you. But first, I want to welcome some new fellows into the line, the 305th Infantry Regiment. I'm sorry the weather's so bad for you. We had planned to fix all the roads before you came, but there isn't much we can do about it now. Incidentally, keep your feet dry, fellas. Your medics can't do a thing for frozen toes, and your girlfriends back home don't want you crippled. Take it easy, huh?